This is Jerry Brewer of East Bay Hitting Instruction, and today I want to talk about the rear arm and how it works. And what I want to do today is talk about, just keep in mind, a lot of common cues you hear about the rear arm. Rear arm gets a lot of attention in terms of baseball instruction. You hear a lot of cues given to the top hand, where you hear about drop the top hand, take the hands to the ball, be short to the ball, stay on top of the ball, top hand, a lot of other stuff. And then you also hear the other side of it, where it's rear elbow, where you want to slot the rear elbow, or initiate the swing with the elbow. I know that's on a Don Slott's Right View Pro. All kinds of things. You want to attack the ball with the rear elbow from Chris Eager. So we're going to look at this, and as you keep in mind, just as we go through this, just keep these in mind. So I'm going to here's a guy showing a top hand drill, just really hitting down the ball. These types of things, where you really just see a lot of focus given this top hand, really getting down on the ball. Really an awful drill. We have another one by Chris Eager. I'm not trying to pan Chris Eager here. I think he does a lot of good stuff. But you can see here the swing is initiated by the rear elbow, really driving down with that rear elbow, slotting the rear elbow. We can see what it looks like from the back side. Up in the top corner, at the top corner right here where I have my hand, we're going to really see this chicken winging effect, where we just get the elbow going straight towards the ball, getting the hand underneath. This movement right here. So I'm going to load up Buster Posey here, and we're going to talk about what he does and how this is a little bit different. And I want to make a little note here that it's really important when we're looking at these videos and working on the rear hand, is that the video needs to be a certain type. It needs to be straight at the hitter, like we see here. And this is tough to get, and you have to really be careful. And it also really helps if you have a camera shooting at 60 frames per second to get the high-speed video, or else you miss some of this stuff. So basically, whatever we've heard so far with the cues of rear arm and top hand hitting, it's all about taking the hands or the elbow to the ball. We want to be very directional with our forces and really get there to the ball. We want to be quick to the ball, take the shortest path to the ball. All these things you're going to hear. So let's just punch through this and watch what Buster Posey does. Okay, so here he is swinging. So you can look at this and you say, all right, first of all, he's not really attacking the ball with his hands. He's not throwing the top hand. He's not being direct. There's a lot of stuff that's happening underneath, and it's bringing his hands here. So he's definitely not doing the T drills we saw earlier. Here the bat is already underneath his hands, way back here. So the T drill is out for Posey. But looking at the elbow, you're like, okay, that kind of looks like he's slotting the elbow. But let's take a really close look. Let's follow the rear elbow right here as it gets under the hands, and then it's going to go straight under the hands. But then as his front shoulder and his torso starts to turn, now his front shoulder is going to start to work. Now the rear elbow is going to slide underneath, but also it's still underneath the hands. Here we go again, still underneath the hands. Still underneath the hands, still pretty much underneath the hands. So is he really sliding the rear elbow? Not so much. Let's take a look at another swing. This is on a low and outside pitch. Let's take a look at a high and inside pitch. Here he is coming in, the elbow is coming in, and then straight down underneath the hands. And as his shoulder opens up, the elbow is going to slot with the hands. So he's not attacking the ball with his hands. The force really is down and then getting rotated. Let's take a look at some other hitters. I wanted to show Miguel Cabrera. Here he is. He's loaded that rear elbow, and instead of bringing the hands or the elbow towards the ball out here, that elbow is going to work underneath the hands. Stay right there. Who else did I want to show? Yoenis Cespedes. Let's get a couple A's players in here. There's Yoenis. gonna start this, load that elbow, get it up high, and then work it underneath, straight down. And then as his front shoulder starts to turn, that's when the elbow starts to turn. You could even say this is a one-piece movement right here. The elbow is going to work straight down and then start to turn. Josh Donaldson, elbows working up, loading the rear shoulder, and then right underneath the hands. And then as his shoulder turns, that's when the elbow starts to turn. He's not slotting the rear elbow, he's not initiating the swing with the rear elbow, he's moving the rear arm into a good position. So you can really see this if you look at a swing that's a take. We looked at Cespedes, and this is a swing he did not, this is a pitch he did not swing at, but he had a check swing. So he's going to do a stride, he's going to start working straight down, and what do we see? He never opens the front side, the elbow just keeps working straight down. Here it is. Never opens the front side, the elbow just goes straight down. So I showed this drill earlier where we looked at what happens when you really get this initiating the swing with the rear elbow, this chicken winging effect, where this elbow just goes straight towards the ball, attacking the ball, as Chris Giger says, to attack the ball with the rear elbow. And what we can see is the hand, the fingers go straight up in the air. And what that's going to do, if I can imagine drawing a bat here, is I'm going to have a nice bat right there, nice and flat. And we're going to have a lot of force pulling it down and creating a nice torque going the wrong way. So imagine his bat right here. But I see a lot of other different things when I look at other hitters. Look from the rear side. Let's take a look at Yoenis Cespedes. I'm going to zoom in and hopefully you guys can see this on his rear arm. And as the pitch comes through, he's going to work his elbow pretty much straight down. Now, I know it's an inside pitch, but this movement is going to allow him to be able to hit the inside pitch. He's going to adjust, obviously, if it's a different location. But if we don't have this movement of keeping the bat pretty vertical, it's not laying flat there. The fingers are not sticking up. It's pretty vertical, and then it's going to start getting pulled by the front side. Show one more hitter here. Same thing, Trout's coming into the stride, working that rear elbow pretty much under the hands, and then this front shoulder is going to start to turn. And there goes the elbow with the front shoulder. Okay, same thing, we can look at Trout on the rear side. We see a very similar thing. Instead of the bat getting really flat, keeps it pretty vertical right there, still underneath his shoulder. Not a flat bat, but very vertical. Okay. So why is this a good thing? Why do we want to have this elbow working under? Well, believe it or not, the cues are decent cues that we want to use our arms, but we have to get our arms in a good position. The goal is to get to this position right here. If our hands and our elbow are ahead of this position, they're no good. They've used up their range of motion. At this position right here, they can do work. But from this position right here, the elbow and the hands, the arm, are at a mechanically disadvantaged position. If you try to launch this swing right here, you'll have no power. I make the analogy over and over of a car, where the swing is geared from the legs as the first gear, then the torso starts to turn, and then the arms. The arms and the hands have the least torque, but they have high-end speed. We want to use them last. We have to get the body moving, legs, torso, arms are going to come through here. If Trout just launches his arms and his hands from here, it's not going to work. He's got to get the hips opening, there it is, torso turning, there it is, and now he can start to unleash his arms. So that's what I want to see hitters do. I want to see hitters come in, work this elbow underneath the hands, keep the bat pretty vertical, don't drop it underneath, almost a straight down movement. and get in this good position. And just as a kind of a thing I want to wrap up here, I want to freeze this position right here. And we can learn a lot just from this one frame right here. And I want to go out and try to get into this position. And what he's got here is his knees almost at his hip. His hips are pretty much parallel. He's opened his hips a little bit in the turn. His front shoulders and his shoulders are pretty much square, but his elbow is starting to work underneath. Go out and try to get into this position. And I think what you'll see, if you have any movement with this elbow or the hands going this direction, trying to go meet the ball, there is no way you can hold this position. His power with the upper body is pulling down and preventing this hand from going too early. There is no way that you can keep this hip back, this knee underneath, if you have any force with the upper body, at least in terms of the rear arm, either hands or elbow, going to the ball. It's got to work down to get into this proper position right here. And now we can do work with the arms. So come into the stride, work the elbow under, get this shoulder involved, pull down with this rear lat, get into a good position here. And now we can see he's turning the torso. Now he's in a good position to fire. Boom, coming out of it. Very strong position. Alright guys, so that is the rear arm. Don't slot it, don't drop the top hand, don't do any of this. Let the rear arm work underneath the hands, get into a good strong position right here. Don't get the arms ahead of the torso, let the torso go. First gear is the legs, second gear is the torso, then let the arms fire. It's the only way we can get this going. The arms are simply not as strong as the torso and the legs. If we try to use them too early, we'll stall. We'll have bat drag, basically. Okay, one last time. Come into stride, work the arm into the right position, let the body turn, fire the arms. Cool. Don't slot the rear elbow, don't throw the top hand. Alright guys, hope this was informative. Send me questions if you got them. When you look at the video, make sure it's in this good position.